They laughed at you, dismissed you, mocked your silence as weakness, thinking you didn't notice, but you did. You always do. Here's the truth: Machiavelli's first law of power. Revenge is not rage, it is arithmetic. They gave you pain, humiliation, and doubt. That was your investment. Your return? Power, control, and silence that suffocates. You don't fight fire with fire. You become the wildfire they never see coming because they were too busy underestimating you. Let them think you're harmless. Let them keep talking. Every joke, every smirk, every dismissal is a debt, and debts always get collected. But you won't collect like a child begging for attention. You'll collect like a king reclaiming stolen land. Ruthlessly, quietly, and irrefutably. Revenge doesn't begin with action, it begins with transformation. You become the most dangerous man, the one who smiles when insulted, because he's already building his empire in silence. You don't correct them, defend yourself, or seek approval. You evolve silently and strategically. They used your name like a weapon, but you'll turn your name into a legend, and when they finally see you, unrecognizable, powerful, unshaken, they'll realize too late that you were never weak, only calculating. What they truly fear is not rage or noise, but the calm, the cold, the climb. Revenge isn't proving them wrong, it's making them irrelevant. Forgotten footnotes in your story of dominance. From now on, you remember everything but respond to nothing. You build, sharpen, rise. Because this isn't just revenge, it's your rebirth, and when you return, you don't return for answers, you return for authority. You turn the pain into armor and wear it like a crown. Feel that shift in your blood. Good. That's power being born. Comment below. They'll regret ever knowing me. This is just the beginning. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because in part 2, we'll talk about how to become emotionally invisible and weaponize it. The anatomy of power, perception. Power is never what it seems. It doesn't live in titles, money, or brute strength. Power is perception, and true revenge begins the moment you understand how others see you, because the world treats you based on that image. When they humiliated you, they declared you beneath them, and the crowd believed it, because you did too. Your reactions, posture, and pain gave them permission to define you. Never again. As Machiavelli said, men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. For everyone sees you, but few touch you. They only see the illusion, which means if you master perception, you master judgment. And if you control judgment, you own them. So your next move is to reconstruct your image with terrifying precision. Lower your voice, speak less but sharper, move slower, hold eye contact, carry detached energy. This isn't pretending. It's weaponizing psychology. A person who speaks little is unpredictable. A man who walks with purpose is followed. A man who needs nothing is respected. People don't fear loudness, they fear mystery. And here's the twist. You don't need real power, just the perception of it. Once they believe you have it, they'll surrender theirs without knowing. Watch as they start treading carefully, over-explaining, second-guessing. The same ones who mocked you now walking on glass. Not because you asked, but because you engineered it. That is silent revenge. That is perception, weaponized. And it starts now. Look in the mirror and destroy the version of yourself that tolerated disrespect. From now on, your presence is not a question, it's a statement. And when your enemies see you again, they won't recognize the monster they created. But you will. You built it with humiliation. Now it's time to unleash it. Drop this in the comments. Let them underestimate me. I'll build power in silence. Make them need you, then fear you. Want to know the cruelest form of revenge? It's not crushing your enemies. It's making them depend on you. Weak men strike with fists, but the powerful become essential, turning those who once mocked them into quiet servants, begging for attention, approval, and access. That's not just dominance, it's ownership. Machiavelli understood this well. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. While the fool reacts, the wise man designs. Step 1. Disappear. Not physically, but socially and emotionally. You stop offering your presence, become scarce, and let them crave what they can't have. Curiosity turns into obsession. Then, in silence, you rebuild. Sharpen rare skills, refine your body, control your time, and build shadow influence. While they chase attention, you gather leverage, the purest form of power. Suddenly, they hear your name in rooms they can't access, see your success in places they can't touch, and realize something terrifying. They need you. And the twist? You don't help them. At least not yet. You stay just out of reach, like a king watching ants claw at the gates, triggering their insecurity and turning their respect into fear. They begin to audit their past, haunted by what they said and did, realizing you've become what they never imagined, an asset beyond their control. This is Machiavellian power, becoming so skilled, so strategically placed, that your presence is either a threat or a gift. They now fear losing you, or fear what you'll do without them. And that fear, that's your throne. You decide who gets access, who to forgive, who to destroy. This isn't revenge by force, it's revenge by gravity. You don't chase, you attract. Everything they once did becomes a debt they can never repay. That's how a man becomes untouchable. Part 4 is coming next. Burn their name without saying it. Ready to kill them with silence? Let's keep going. The power of controlled cruelty. They want you to be kind, merciful, forgiving. But that's what they teach the weak, to keep them manageable. Machiavelli knew better. It is much safer to be feared than loved. Fear breeds caution, and caution keeps enemies in check. This isn't about cruelty for pleasure, that's childish. This is about cruelty with purpose. Controlled cruelty is one of the most powerful tools in psychological warfare. When someone humiliates you, your instinct may be to react fast and loud. That's emotional, predictable, weak. True cruelty is calculated. It waits, it watches, because revenge isn't a reaction, it's a construction. Step 1. Let them believe they got away with it. No flinch, no confrontation. Just a smile, withdrawal, silence. This builds their false confidence and your power. Step 2. Identify their vulnerabilities. Everyone has them. A fragile ego, a reputation, a relationship, a secret. Study them like targets. Step 3. Strike where it hurts. But not to destroy, to remind. A remark in front of the right people. A truth slipped into the air. A quiet exclusion. One surgical move that stains their mind for years. And when they react, you don't. You stay calm, cold, distant. That's what unnerves them. Because silence is terrifying. They expect a fight. Instead, you give them something worse. Irrelevance and distance. You show them you're not after revenge, you're after domination. But this weapon only works if it's rare. If you're always swinging, they'll learn to dodge. So wait, and when you do strike, make it count. Deep, final, then walk away. As Machiavelli said, injuries should be inflicted all at once, so that their savor being less persistent, they will give less offense. Translation: strike hard once, then move on. Leave them bleeding while the world sees you as composed, perhaps even honorable. Let them wonder how you became so dangerous, so untouchable. Don't explain, just smile. Like a man who knows exactly what he's capable of and doesn't need to prove it. Tell yourself, my mercy is a choice, not a default. Part 6 is next. You win by becoming their shadow. Time to turn from man into myth. You win by becoming their shadow. Let me teach you something they never want you to learn. You don't always win by standing in the light. Sometimes, you win by becoming their shadow. Let them have the spotlight, the noise, the posts, the performance. You move in silence, through the cracks, unseen and unshakable, because real power lives in mystery, in proximity without detection. As Machiavelli said, A wise prince ought to adopt such a course that his citizens will always, in every sort and kind of circumstance, have need of him. And if you want true revenge, not the petty kind, you stop trying to be seen and start mastering the art of being everywhere without being noticed. When someone humiliates you, they're not just attacking your pride, they're trying to erase your presence. So instead, you infiltrate theirs. You become the quiet force in their world, building relationships they rely on, mastering skills they lack, gaining influence in the systems they think they own, until one day they're surrounded by you and don't even realize it. And when that day comes, you don't strike, you let them unravel. You become the ghost in their mirror, the whisper in the room that shifts the tide without ever raising a hand. You sabotage nothing but influence everything. Their eyes start darting toward you, their confidence flickers, their certainty weakens. That's psychological dominance. Because where the weak scream for redemption, the wise become the atmosphere that makes their enemies irrelevant. Apply this. Stop broadcasting your plans. Learn what they value, then become the silent gatekeeper of it. Get so close to their world that one decision from you quietly changes their fate. No gloating, no threats, just presence. With leverage. And they will feel it. Their posture cracks, their voice trembles, their arrogance decays. While you remain still, stoic, and ever-present. A living monument to the cost of humiliating someone forged in silence. That's not revenge. That's metamorphosis. Comment this. Let them shine. I'll be the shadow that ends them. Part 7 is coming. They'll regret ever being comfortable around you. That's when we enter the transformation phase. They'll regret ever being comfortable around you. They laughed. They smirked. They dropped the passive-aggressive jokes and dismissed your potential like it was a punchline because they were comfortable around you. You weren't seen as a threat, just another harmless presence, forgettable, contained, and that was your advantage. Machiavelli once wrote, "A prince is also esteemed when he is a true friend and a true enemy." Back then, you were neither, you were neutral. But that ends now. Because the most lethal transformation isn't loud, it's silent. It's when you evolve so fully that they realize too late they should have feared you from the beginning. Here's the law. Comfort breeds contempt. Evolution breeds regret. When people get too comfortable, they drop their masks. They test limits, talk down, play games. So instead of reacting, you take notes. You catalog every slight, every fake smile, every hidden jab. Then, without warning, you vanish. No closure, no explanation. You enter isolation like a cocoon, and when you return, you're not the same man. You're colder, sharper, more focused. You walk slower, speak less, move with intent. Suddenly, their ease turns to anxiety, their confidence to confusion, their control to fear. That is revenge. Not destruction, but distance. Not confrontation, but elevation. You didn't argue. You didn't demand validation. You became the person they swore you never could be, and didn't even invite them to see it. You let whispers do the work. You let their curiosity decay into regret. They'll scroll through your success, replay their mockery, and sit in rooms you've outgrown, realizing the old jokes don't land anymore, because you're no longer the punchline, you're the benchmark. And here's the Machiavellian twist. You make them regret their comfort without ever touching them. That's masculine stoicism. That's dark psychology. That's the cold rebirth of your identity into something untouchable. So let them believe they were clever. Let them assume you forgot. Then let your silence and your glow remind them you were watching all along. And now, you're not angry. You're inevitable. Tell yourself, comfort with me was a privilege. They lost it. Part 8 is next. The strategic art of making them chase you. That's when the hunter becomes the prize. The strategic art of making them chase you. The world teaches you to chase approval, respect, closure. But if you're still chasing them, you've already lost. Because chasing stems from lack, while power is rooted in gravity. And gravity doesn't move, it pulls. You want real revenge, don't just win. Don't just outgrow them. Make them chase you. Make them feel your absence like a drug they can't touch anymore. Machiavelli said, "Men in general judge more from appearances than from reality. All men have eyes, but few have the gift of penetration. So stop proving yourself, stop explaining who you've become. You don't change minds with words. You reshape perception with scarcity. The moment you pull back, you create a vacuum. And humans, they hate vacuums. Hey, crave closure, chase connection, obsess over what pulls away. So when they see you, confident, distant, refined, they start leaning in, watching, asking, wondering. And you say nothing, because now you're not playing on their field. You are the field. And they're lost in it. Power flips. The one who once overthought texts is now the one whose silence keeps them awake. The one who waited on invitations now leaves others questioning if they should even reach out. That's not arrogance, it's strategic energy withdrawal. You've become rare, scarce, a name that doesn't reply but lives rent-free in their minds. And when they come crawling back, don't block them, don't attack, just give them a glimpse, then disappear again. Enough to remind them, never enough to reach you. This isn't petty, it's positioning, because the masculine stoic doesn't chase, he becomes the standard, the source. And those who once mocked him now orbit him, starving for a warmth they once disrespected. Let them chase, let them spiral, let them drown in the silence they created. You're not bitter anymore, you're better. And now, they'll never catch up. Comment this: I stopped chasing, now they run in circles. Part 9 is coming. Build a legacy they can't compete with. We're almost at the final phase. Immortality through power. Build a legacy they can't compete with. You've stayed silent. You've rebuilt. You've made them doubt, chase, and regret. But that was never the end, only the beginning. Because now, we go beyond revenge. We enter the realm of the unreachable, legacy. Nothing destroys your enemies more completely than outliving their relevance. Machiavelli understood that power isn't about the moment, it's about permanence. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. The ones who humiliated you? They were playing checkers. You're building a dynasty. Let them keep posting, shouting, scrambling for attention that vanishes in 24 hours. You're after something greater, a name that echoes, a reputation that precedes you, a presence that commands trust, fear, and respect, without ever needing to speak. And here's how you build it. You don't just get rich, you become a resource. You don't just look sharp, you become unforgettable. You don't just master skills, you make those skills feed systems that live beyond you. You create companies, code, content, culture. You speak truths that resonate, lead movements that matter, and let your voice become architecture, structural, lasting, undeniable. And the coldest part, you never mention their names, because their names are forgotten. Yours is carved in stone. They'll see it unfold, watch the features, read the headlines. Hear your name in places they'll never belong. And every time they'll remember the moment they laughed, mocked, underestimated, and realized the cost wasn't just being wrong. It was becoming irrelevant. That's the highest form of revenge, rising so far beyond them that the comparison becomes laughable. You don't just win, you transcend. So stop proving, stop chasing. Start building your legend with ruthless clarity and cold precision. And when you reach the top, don't wave, don't gloat, just look down and let the silence say, I remember everything, but I need nothing. Comment this below. Let them fight for attention. I'll build a name that echoes. Part 10 is coming. The final silence. How legends end the war without lifting a finger. It's time to become myth. The final silence. How legends end the war without lifting a finger. It's quiet at the top. No noise. No drama. No desperate voices or fake friends circling back. Just silence. And your shadows stretched across the empire you built. This is the final stage. You don't speak anymore. The world speaks for you. You don't attack. Your results haunt them. You don't seek revenge, because you've become living proof of what they'll never be. And that is the final silence. Machiavelli wrote, "Men ought either to be well treated or crushed, because they can avenge themselves of lighter injuries, possible ones they cannot play. But you didn't just crush them, you erased the scoreboard altogether, because once you become a legend, there's nothing left to fight. They can gossip, posture, pretend, but you're untouchable, unbothered. Still rising, here's how legends win, not with wild swings, but with one move that rewrites history. You end the war not by destroying the enemy, but by becoming the outcome they can never reach. Every laugh, every smirk, every betrayal. They thought they were writing your ending, but all they did was forge your beginning. You didn't destroy them, you outlived them. That's not just darker than revenge, it's eternal. They tried to break you, but all they did was sharpen you. Now you stand, forged in silence, fueled by clarity, armored by isolation, crowned by discipline. You no longer explain, you no longer chase, you no longer seek revenge, because the war already ended. And the silence you carry? That's not peace, that's power. They feel it in every room you're no longer in every decision you don't make, but still influence. In every shadow you cast over the life they tried to control. So from this moment on, let them wonder, let them regret, let them drown in their own noise, while you disappear into legend. And here's the truth most people avoid. Silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means everything is happening, just beyond what they can see. Your growth is no longer for applause. It's a private conquest. When you stop needing validation, you start operating at a level they can't touch. You're not just winning quietly, you're evolving in dimensions they don't even know exist. Your absence becomes louder than their presence. Your stillness becomes your strike. This isn't about proving them wrong anymore. It's about becoming someone they can never understand, much less imitate. No more announcements, no more warnings. You've left the arena, and in doing so, you've changed the game entirely. Remember, power isn't in showing up. It's in being missed, being studied, being impossible to follow. Legends aren't loud, they're felt, revered, and feared in equal measure. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. This was Psygorithm, and this was the blueprint. Now go disappear and build power that speaks without words.